Welcome to another Unwinding with Fiber and Fabric, and welcome to another day of Countdown to Christmas 2021. Today I'm going to share with you tree skirts, Christmas stockings, and tree toppers. A couple weeks ago I showed you a tree skirt that was made for my son, and it's already found its way through the mail, through the postage, to Europe, and he's already putting it to use. So I will definitely show a picture here of that finished tree skirt. It was so fun to make. If you haven't seen the video that talks more about it, please go back a couple videos and take a look at that. But during that video, I talked about a tree skirt that I made many, many years ago. It was when I was first learning how to quilt, or it was when I was first learning to do patchwork, utilizing rotary cutters and all the new gadgets and techniques. I had purchased a book called, I think it's called Scrap Mania, or Scrap Mania 2, and it had a log cabin block in it, or log cabin quilt in it, that I just loved. When I looked at it, the way it was pieced together was an off-centered log cabin. And the way it was pieced together, it kind of ended up looking a little bit like what's called a drunkard's path quilt block. And what it did is that when you put them together, the off-centered blocks, you started to get what looked like curves. No curves involved, but you'd get these curves. And I saw that pattern and said, oh my goodness, that would be fabulous for a tree skirt, because it's big and it's huge and it makes a wreath, a circle wreath. And I left off the corners so it emulated the idea of a circle. And I made this. And my younger self, I just have to look back and go, wow, I was a crazy woman, because what I now know how to do compared to what I knew how to do back then is so much different. But I had the faith of young and youthful imagination, and I tackled it. There's a ton of things that I would do differently if I did it again. Mainly, I would definitely use bias binding so I could do these curves better. I would use 100% cotton. So that it would wear a little differently. I would hand quilt it, but the reason I haven't replaced it is because I love the imperfection of it. I love, I mean, my seams match. I did good piecing. I have, holes that are forming, because not all of my seam allowances, I guess, were spot on. But I just, whenever I find one of those, I hand stitch them closed. I need to do that one. But I do love it. And I have to say, one of the things that's nice about having a polyester cotton backing is it retains cat hair just a little bit less than some of my 100% cottons do. So, hey, that's a plus. But these fabrics are all fabrics that came from my grandma's stash. And that's one of the other reasons why I really love this tree skirt, is that this is from a collection of stuff that I inherited, that she passed down to me when she no longer could do the crafting herself. So that's my tree skirt. And I'm sure, if I haven't already, I will put a picture showing it, because it is huge. See, it's big, it's huge. And I made this before purchasing my big gigantic Christmas tree. So it just goes to show I must have known I needed a big huge tree. I needed a big huge tree just so it could match the tree skirt. So that's the tree skirt that I wanted to share. And it's just an off-centered log cabin block. There's 4 different block patterns, as in the way the fabric is laid out. Thin strips, and thick strips of the darks and the lights. And it's just the way you lay it out, you get this curve. I may eventually have to make another one. I think my children would love for me to make another one. But then there's another part of me that thinks this would be a really lovely bed quilt. I have some Christmas fabrics that I purchased a number of years ago. I wanted to do a log cabin block. Maybe rather than making another tree skirt, I'll make a bed quilt out of it. Eventually. Alright, so let's put that on the ground. So, the next tree skirt I want to share... Oh, I should mention the red one that I also showed a sneak peek of in my previous video. It's already under the tree. I'll dig out a photo of it. Whoops, let me see. There we go. I'll dig out a photo of it and put it here. So that you can see it. I can't promise that it's going to be the easiest to see because the red fabric I've discovered is very hard to photograph. No matter how I try to change the lighting, that red just does not like to photograph well. So it is a really simple tree skirt. I have some pictures and I'll show them. I took measurements from the base of the tree out, and I took that measurement and I drew a pattern that, you know, basically by taking that measurement, that becomes the diameter. Actually, it becomes the radius. So that times 2 becomes the diameter of the circle. And I am sure there's YouTube videos showing you how to do this. It's no different than if you sew clothing. There's videos showing about how to do circle skirts. But I just simply sat down and I measured that out, and then I sat down and I drew up some patterns. And one of the things that I used to make it easier to place the embroidery designs is I got some plastic template fabric, or not fabric, plastic template material, and I drew out the wedge that I'd measured out on paper, and I drew out that wedge, and then I marked on the wedge as a template where I wanted to have the designs. So by doing that, I was able to move the wedge around the circle and put marking lines so that all of my designs line up. So I am sure I'll be showing pictures of those different things for a quick, just a quick show and tell. But I'm sure, again, if you look up circle skirts, how to make a circle skirt, I can't say that word. How to make a tree skirt, I'm sure there's videos showing you how to do it. But it really is simple. It's from the base of the tree out to where you want to have the skirt land. You take that measurement, that is half the diameter, so you double it, and that is the total diameter of the circle. In my case, I just folded paper, and folded paper, and folded paper, and then I cut around a circle. So, this isn't a tutorial video. I keep reminding myself that. So the next one I want to show you, which I am sure this one was made with the same type of technique of cutting out a circle. I suspect it was made around 1970. I'm not sure if it was made by my grandmother or if it was made by my great aunt. It may have been made by my mom. I know that my mom did a lot of, and my mom and dad both did bead work for a while. So it may be, but somebody in that grouping of people made this felt tree skirt. And it is, and the reason I say my aunt may have made it is that I know she was doing a lot of felt crafts when in the around 1970, early 1970s, as she was starting off a career in teaching elementary. So I know both my mom and my aunt did a lot of felt crafting, and so it could be either one. It may be my I have a feeling it is my aunt, because she made us, she made my brothers and I, Christmas stockings out of felt at that time as well. But I have to show you this, because so all of the main the felt is glued on. The beads are actually hand sewn on through and the sequins. But here's the thing, that is a sweet little design with the reindeer and the tree. That is a sweet design. That is something that I may have to replicate and use. It is the snowman hasn't survived very well. He looks a little rough for wear. But the Christmas tree and the candy canes have held up really quite well. So, craft felt. It can make a Christmas tree. And I know there are a number of people who, there's a whole entire industry of craft felt Christmas decoration. So, felt. This is one that my grandma made. She liked to have live Christmas trees from the florist every year come to her house, and it was really great because she collected and saved the ornaments that were on the trees every year. I'm not sure she ever had any of the trees successfully transplant in the backyard, but she collected the ornaments, saved the ornaments, and those ornaments I've now used to decorate a small wreath and some garland that I have outside. But she made this for her trees. This is a printed fabric. These are not seams. This is a printed fabric to look like quilt blocks. And she just made this little tree skirt. It has a ruffle. And so it's adorable on around a tree, on a tabletop tree. It's also adorable when your kids use it as a cape or a skirt when we're decorating for Christmas. So it actually ended up being used a ton by my kids in as Christmas decor for themselves back when they were little and we were decorating for Christmas. So those are the tree skirts I wanted to share with you. Simple enough to make. You can do more elaborate or you can do simple. They're lovely and they're fun crafts either way. When it comes to Christmas stockings, I bought fabric years ago, right from the beginning. It was one of the first one of the things I did back in the days in which we had very, very little budget is after Christmas, I would go, and when the fabrics were on sale, I would buy a yard or a quarter yard of Christmas fabrics. For a while, my kids they would buy as Christmas gifts for me a quarter yard of their favorite Christmas fabric and then wrap it up and they'd give that to me. But my husband and I loved, both of us when we were growing up, loved Frosty as our favorite winter Christmas character. So when I found these two fabrics, one was this larger print and one was this smaller print, I knew I needed to actually spend the money, and that became the fabric that I was going to make the Christmas stockings with. I bought the fabric a few years before I had kids. I made the Christmas stockings after both kids came. And this was before I had the embroidery machine. It is the name written on it, okay, which is probably reversed in the camera, who knows. But the name written on it is stitched out by just a sewing machine decorative stitching. So just a sewing machine satin stitch going around the applique fabric, stitching out the name in with a decorative stitch from the sewing machine. And that's how I ended up making Christmas stockings for my family. Yeah. It doesn't take fancy equipment. Most sewing machines today come with a few decorative stitches, and if you write the name on in pencil and then follow it with your sewing machine foot, there you have it. These are completely lined. they just have a muslin lining. And so they're completely lined. And that is my Christmas stocking. Now, that may have been the first Christmas stocking that I made. But, again, we have to have more. So, my son has a Christmas stocking now with him that I'm sure I'll find a picture and have up while I'm speaking here. And I'm sure I'll make more Christmas stockings as the family grows. But I had someone give me a bunch of remnant upholstery fabric, and I made this into a big stocking so it could have some really pretty machine embroidery put on it. And this hangs up on my wall as decoration. And it has a partner and more machine embroidery on more remnant upholstery fabric. And so I have those as wall decorations. I find Christmas stockings and self-lined bags for Christmas gift items. I find it to be a fun project to teach others to do. But I also have tree toppers, and I want to show you. All right, so I'm going to start with, I've made a smaller version of this for my son. I need to make one for the tree here. Right now it has a different type of topper. But this one is for my small tree in my other room. I have a small tree that all of the really delicate and many of the handmade items go on. And then I have the bigger tree. And this little tree topper is made, she's actually, and I'll show you this in another video, she's a gingerbread doll. And her hair is actually wool from, I think it's a Leicester long wool is what I think I used a Leicester. No, I have a feeling this is actually Wensleydale. The silver Wensleydale. So she is just a little gingerbread doll that I've made. I've just made a little outfit for her, put it on, and her skirt, the tree branch goes up the back side of her skirt and she sits on the tree. So she's my little tree topper angel. She was inspired by the tree topper I made when my husband and I first were married. And I was, again, using remnants of stuff that my grandma and my great aunt had given me. And my great aunt had made these beautiful nightgowns all the time for little girls. These princess angel type nightgowns. And so I had some scraps of that fabric. So I made this angel. And she's never had a face. I've asked my husband, do you want me to now put a face on her? I've asked the kids, do you want me to replace her for the top of the tree? And they're like, nope. So she is made using a sock. I think that's actually the foot of the sock. A toilet paper roll. Some cardboard to stiffen the outside of and remnant lace, remnant polyester stretchy knit, both through the dress and the wings, acrylic yarn for her hair, and she is now over 20 years old. So it started off really basic. It started off simple. And it started off with flaws that over the years I've learned how to do better quality work. But the love that has gone into the work hasn't lessened, hasn't improved, hasn't changed. Because whether it is with basic skills or whether it's with advanced skills, the desire to make something for our family and friends, that is where the quality comes from. So that is my tree skirts, Christmas stockings, and tree toppers. And I will now say goodbye until tomorrow. I hope you have joy through your day. Blessings and goodbye.